When we filmed our Galapagos series, we were still figuring out how to even talk on camera. We were also still figuring out if any of this, the travel, the early retirement, the whole thing, what it was going to look like for us. And the questions you've been sending us since those videos went up, they have been fantastic. They're the same questions we were asking ourselves. Can we actually do this? Is it safe? Will the logistics be easy to navigate? So today I'm answering them. Not as an expert. The real experts, your cruise operators, are always happy to answer them. They are your experts. But as someone who had the same kind of questions as you, we're going to talk about what getting there actually looks like, including the moment I saw armed security and immediately questioned every decision I'd ever made. And in a few minutes, I want to talk specifically to the women who are considering doing this solo. Stay with me for that one. Is Ecuador actually safe to travel to right now? So let's talk about actually getting there, because this is the part most often gets overlooked. And honestly, it's the part that almost talked me out of going. Before we left, we checked out the travel advisories for Ecuador on the US government website. And there was a warning, one specifically for Guayaquil. I fixated on it, probably more than I should have. Here's what I know now that I didn't know then. That warning has apparently been sitting there unchanged for quite some time. We had concerns and talked directly to Lindblad, and they assured us that they had no concerns. They send people to Guayaquil weekly. If you have concerns, do the same thing. Ask questions of your tour operator. It made us feel better for sure. As an example, when we loaded up into the big buses to take us from the hotel to the airport to the islands, I noticed we had armed security with us. They stood outside the bus as we got loaded. My first reaction was a little taken back. My second reaction was, oh, they take our safety seriously. And after that, I didn't think about it again. I felt at ease the entire time in the hands of our tour operator. Here's the thing I want you to take from this. Trust your tour operator. If your operator isn't worried, you probably don't need to be worried either. They do this every single day. Do I really need to arrive a day early, or is that overkill? Most people arrive the day the tour operator requested them to arrive. We decided to fly into Guayaquil the day before recommended because Steve and I don't do well with same-day travel stress. I'd rather arrive early and be totally bored than arrive late and be stressed out. Plus, it gives us a chance to recharge, but it's totally up to you if you want to get that extra day to arrive early. There's no wrong answer here. Just do what makes you feel comfortable and how you prefer to travel. What does the first 24 to 48 hours actually look like? We landed late in the evening, and I want to be honest, waiting for luggage in a foreign airport after a long day is its own special kind of anxiety. Not only was it a really long walk to baggage claim, we had to stand there and wait an even longer time. But the minute we got our bags and cleared through the baggage claim, there was Lindblad with their sign gathering us all up. We loaded up into a van and we set off to our hotel Oro Verde. I didn't have to think about a single thing except where was the bathroom. FYI, there's a bathroom in luggage claim. Our hotel was fantastic and the food was even better. There were actually 2 tour operators there staging at the same hotel, so you will never feel alone. Most everyone there is doing the exact same thing as you. You will absolutely be taken care of. Just rest up because you will have an exciting week ahead of you. Also, there will be a representative available in the lobby if you have any questions, and Steve always has a question, just saying. What happens to my luggage on embarkation day? That's the wonderful part, not having to deal with all the luggage because we overpacked. Lindblad had taken our bags at the hotel before we left for the islands. We handed them over and didn't see them until they showed up in our cabin on the boat. No dragging luggage to the bus, to the airport, to the Zodiac. They just were gone and then magically reappeared in our room. All I had to do was follow instructions and the rest of the group, and it was easy peasy. And when we got on the boat and got settled, we wondered why we weren't given a room key yet. So we went to ask about it. There were no room keys for our boat. That was a first for us. We were shocked, but then it clicked. We were on a boat. Everyone on the boat was family. Nobody was going anywhere. We could lock our door from the inside while we slept, but the idea that everyone was safe, that there was nothing to guard against, that was a profound feeling, not something you experience every day. I don't know if every ship operates this way, but our specific boat did. And it set the tone for everything that followed. What's the flight to the islands actually like? The flight itself felt like something I didn't expect. We took up a huge portion of the plane, so it already felt like we were all going on vacation together, because we were. There was this energy, you could feel it. One of the unique things about this flight is that the flight attendants, before we land, walk through the cabin and are spraying insecticides. They're opening up the bins and spraying. They take their ecosystem security in the Galapagos very seriously. Once we landed, we walked down the stairs off the plane onto the tarmac, and before we even got to the terminal door, we were in awe. We had seen our first glimpse of iguanas, and they were right there on the sidewalk next to us before we got to the terminal door. We couldn't resist taking selfies with the "Welcome to Galapagos" sign. So note to self, get your camera ready. You're gonna wanna take photos. Nobody from Lindblad was rushing us along. They just let it happen. Let us all stop and stare and take photos and have a moment. That pause before you even get to the terminal, that's your first real signal that you are somewhere completely unique. And that was just the airport. Will this type of cruise be a good choice for a solo travel? I want to talk to the women who are watching this and doing the math in their head. Maybe your spouse doesn't want to go. Maybe you lost your partner. Maybe you've just always been the one who wanted to do the big thing, and you're tired of waiting for someone else to be ready. Don't let fear talk you out of a trip of a lifetime. Your next best friend or travel buddy you haven't even met yet just might be on that next boat. I mean that literally. One of my favorite people from our entire Galapagos experience was a solo traveler we met on board, a fellow retiree. And at the time, Steve and I hadn't retired yet. We were still in the planning stages with lots of questions. She had epic trips planned. She was not holding back, not even a little bit. She was one of the most inspiring people I met on that entire trip. And I'm putting a link in the description to a Lindblad interview with her from our actual sailing. Go watch it. She'll say it better than I can. As a solo traveler, will I feel like the odd one out if everyone else is a couple? The solo travelers we met had absolutely no trouble folding into the group, into families, into couples, into whoever was around. Because on a 100-person ship, you're not a solo traveler. You're just part of one large family. You will never feel alone from the moment you land because Lindblad has you covered. There's a rep at the airport, there's a van to the hotel, there's a schedule and a guide and a crew that knows your name. You are never standing in a foreign country wondering what happens next. That logistical anxiety of solo international travel, almost entirely handled for you. Snorkeling requires a buddy system, but as a solo traveler, I won't have a buddy. Even the activities are set up in a way that works beautifully for solo travelers. Snorkeling does require a buddy system for safety reasons. Before you even load the Zodiacs, everyone lines up and partners up. If there's an odd person out, you go into a group of 3. I did that. Sometimes Steve wanted to hike, I wanted to snorkel, so I had to partner up. That's the culture on a ship like this. People look out for each other. It just happens naturally. Do not let fear be the thing that keeps you home. If you have done the cruise solo, please let us know in the comments because you may help the next solo traveler be more confident in saying yes to this wonderful experience. Is there Wi-Fi? Can I stay connected with family back home? The ship provided basic Wi-Fi, but I also set up an eSIM data plan for my phone before I even left. And I want to tell you exactly why. I have been a pet sitter. I know what it's like to be on the other end of that phone when something goes wrong with someone's animal and you can't reach them because they're out of the country. We had senior dogs back home and I had a sitter and I didn't want to put them in that position. I wanted to be able to be reachable. Nothing went wrong, but I wanted to sleep better every single night knowing that if something did happen, she had the ability to reach us. That peace of mind was worth every penny of that data plan. Plus, I got to keep everyone up to date on our group text messages about the exciting news of the day. They were always eager and a little upset if I was late on those updates. There's also another practical bonus I didn't fully appreciate about having this eSIM plan until I got home. Because my phone had the data and location services running the whole time. Every single photo I took with my phone, it tagged exactly where it was taken, which island, which beach. When I came home and started pulling together all of our footage from my phone and Steve's phone, I could trace back all of my stuff to its location. Steve, on the other hand, didn't have a data plan and had his phone in airplane mode the entire time. His photos didn't have the location data, so I had to pull out the itinerary and cross-check the dates to where we were supposed to be and kind of guess. So it's not a deal breaker, but if you're someone who wants to remember or share exactly where a photo was taken, that's worth knowing before you go. What do the guides actually do? I cannot say enough about the guides, but let me give you some specific examples instead of just telling you they were wonderful, and they were. We were on a beach at one point and one of the guides quietly redirected us from an area we would have absolutely walked through. No drama, no lecture, just don't go there. Iguana eggs were buried in that ground. You would never know it by looking at it, but they knew. There was also a moment when the guide spotted a cat, a domestic cat on an island where domestic cats were strictly prohibited from being outdoors. They reported it to the authorities immediately. No hesitation, because they understand what's at stake for this ecosystem in a way that most visitors, including me, are still catching up to. The rules on those islands exist for real reasons, and having guides who take them seriously makes you take them seriously too. Of course, their knowledge about the animals, the local history, was never ending. It was a magical place, and they helped to bring it to life with their knowledge. Do I need a fancy camera, or will my iPhone be enough? We were lucky we had a National Geographic photographer on our boat, and I'll be honest, at first I hung back. I had only an iPhone. The photographers with their big fancy cameras and lenses, they were all clustered around the expert, and I didn't feel like I belonged in that group. But one of our guides, who was also a photographer, wouldn't allow us to feel left out. She saw us using our phones and she walked us through exactly how to get the best shots from what we had. No judgments, just making sure we could also capture our best memories with our phone. Nobody asked her to do that. She just did it. That's what I mean when I say these trips are different. The people who run them, the guides, the crew, the naturalists, they want everyone to go home with something. And they pay attention to who might be getting left out or being felt like they were left behind. Just a quick note on some other topics. If you're wondering about the physical experience, the hikes, the snorkeling, the wet landings, I did a full video on that, and it's gonna have it linked above so you can check that out. I'll also have it in the description. Also, if you're prone to seasickness, Steve is, I'm not. He swears by the patches you wear behind the ear. We didn't have issues with the boat and the waves, but we went in January and February. You can check out another video I did about the 2 seasons that could impact this. The entire series will have you covered from what it's like day to day, the different seasons, what to pack, and much more. I'll add the playlist link at the end of this video so you can go check it all out. And for anything associated with the cost, I'm not gonna go and quote you numbers because by the time I post this, they'll change. Go straight to your tour operator for the most current information. It's not cheap, but the experience for us was worth every penny. I mean, how often do you get to say, I swam with a sea lion and a penguin all in the same day? Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about a very specific question that you guys asked. I'm so sorry. I'd already put everything away and I rushed back and I'm like, I forgot to talk about this. Snorkeling. You wanted to know about, for us, we were on the Lindblad cruise and we had shorties. So you were wondering, is the water cold? Did you need anything else? If you are going to the Galapagos, what I recommend doing is going into Google and searching for the average water temperature for the Galapagos Islands during that month. That'll help you to kind of understand what the temperature will be. Most likely it's probably somewhere in the 70s. Either way, I am not very cold natured. I did wear the long sleeves that had the thumb hold and it kind of covered my hand. That I wore underneath, and I was fine. My legs are never cold-natured. My husband, on the other hand, is cold-natured. He used the long rash guards leggings as well as the long sleeve rash guards. So what I recommend is think about how you want to be in the water comfort-wise. The cruise boat we were on provided shorty wetsuits only, so sleeves to here and mid-thigh. Having the rash guards underneath made it so much easier to get those on and off. So do think about your own comfort level, and do your research with Google and figure out what that temperature is. And it can't hurt to have the additional rash guards, and you end up in a swimsuit. So be it. My husband had multiple rash guards. He did not need multiple, he only needed one. So that's my tip, and I'm sorry, that's a really important question. One final inspiration from a solo traveler we met. I want to end with this. When we were on that trip, Steve and I did something we hadn't really planned to do. We talked to everyone. The couples who had already retired, the solo travelers who were on their next chapter. We asked questions and we listened and we soaked in every bit of it. And one person who stuck out with me more than anyone else, the solo traveler, the one with the big trips already planned and not a single sign of holding back. She didn't give me a long speech, but if I had to distill everything she represented into the words, it would be this: don't hesitate, just go. That trip showed us that retirement could be so much bigger than we had even let ourselves imagine. And we had been building toward that ever since. If you have questions I didn't cover, drop them below. I'll answer every single one as quickly as I can, as best as I can. If I don't know, I'll do my best to point you to some great resources or two. And don't forget, your cruise operator would be happy to answer all your questions. Trust me, they answered all of Steve's. And if you want to see where this journey is taking us next, stick around. We're just getting started. We have some epic cruises coming up in just a few months. I'm hoping to get my fill of penguins very soon. If you're interested in retirement, slow travel, and figuring out what comes next after a career ends, hit that subscribe button and follow along. We're making plenty of mistakes, but maybe together we can be a little better prepared. Thanks for watching Someday Chasers. See you in the next adventure. And if you're still here, thank you so much. We are new to this, but we hit the 100 subscriber mark. I know. I try to celebrate these little things because someday it might be 200 and I want to celebrate that. But I also want to honor you, the people who have hit subscribe to this newbie who's trying to do her best, and sometimes it doesn't come out the best. But anyway, thank you for joining the journey, and I can't wait to show you the next series. This is the last one I'm doing on Galapagos, but the next series coming up this fall is going to blow your mind. So stick with me. Thank you so much.